Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? To be or not to be? That is the question. Yes, these quotes are of course from Shakespeare's plays, but they're not particularly useful in day-to-day English. There's not really a way that you can use Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo in a way that's very practical, that's going to help you communicate in English. Despite the fact that Shakespeare's plays were written over 400 years ago, you can still hear and use many of his idioms, expressions, and phrases today. In fact, many of these expressions you may already know, but might not have realised were actually Shakespearean. So, if you would like to broaden your vocabulary, learn a little bit more about British history, and of course William Shakespeare, one of our most famous playwrights, then this lesson is really going to be, well, hopefully interesting. Welcome back to Love English. I'm Leila, and today it's all about William Shakespeare. So let's test your English. How many of these phrases, expressions, and idioms do you already know? And did you realise that any of them were actually coined, meaning created by, William Shakespeare himself? Number 1. To have seen better days. Have seen better days. This essentially means that something is old, worn out. Really, you shouldn't be using it anymore. It's in poor condition. Wow, that jacket you're wearing has seen better days. You could really do with a new one. Number 2, too much of a good thing. Too much of a good thing. Meaning even something really good in excess, too much of it can be bad for you. Wow, that chocolate cake was delicious, but I couldn't eat any more. Too much of a good thing. Number 3, neither rhyme nor reason. Neither rhyme nor reason. In this case, we're actually talking about there being no logic to something. Basically, it doesn't make sense. There's no common sense here. I've looked over the document several times, but there really is no rhyme or reason to it. I can't understand it at all. Number 4, I haven't slept a wink. I haven't slept a wink. This, okay, is a wink when you put one eye together, very bad wink. But when we talk about not sleeping a wink, it means you haven't slept. So you're extremely tired. I didn't sleep a wink last night because the neighbours were having a party. Number 5, you have to be cruel to be kind. You have to be cruel to be kind. Meaning tough love, being truthful, harsh, is often very good for somebody, and it might upset them, but in the long run they will benefit. So for example, I had to tell her the dress didn't fit. I had to be cruel to be kind. Number 6, and of course with this expression you can hear that Shakespearean language. The clothes maketh the man. You could say make, but often we do say maketh. The clothes maketh the man. There's a lot of th sounds there, so it might be tricky to get your tongue around that. But essentially it says the way you dress will give a good impression, that people often judge you based on how you dress. So it's not very nice maybe in that way, but essentially you might say to somebody, it's important to look smart for the interview. Clothes maketh the man. Number 7, in my heart of hearts. In my heart of hearts. In my inner, most true, deep feelings and thoughts. So for example, in your heart of hearts, do you really think your boyfriend is right for you? Number 8, flesh and blood. Flesh and blood. And you would usually say my flesh and blood. This essentially means your family. The people you are actually related to through blood. There's nothing more important than flesh and blood. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for my family. Number 9, to be eaten out of house and home. If somebody eats you out of house and home, you can probably guess it means they've got a pretty big appetite. My son is always so hungry. He ate me out of house and home last week. Number 10, a lovely expression when you find something a little bit confusing. It's all Greek to me. Meaning, basically, it's like a foreign language and you can't understand it at all. Of course, unless you are Greek, then you should be able to understand it. But it's not necessarily referring to a language. You could be talking about an instruction manual. For example, trying to understand the IKEA instructions to put furniture together. Whew, it's all Greek to me. Number 11, to be made of sterner stuff. To be made of sterner stuff. To be strong, determined, to overcome trials. So, for example, I was ready to give up. But not Sabrah. She's made of sterner stuff. She kept us going. Number 12, the beall and endall. The beall and endall, meaning the most important thing, the ultimate goal or aim. It really isn't the be-all and end-all to go to the party tomorrow night. I'd rather stay home and watch TV. We often use it in the negative form to express that something isn't really as important as someone might think it is. Having the most fashionable clothes is not the be-all and end-all. Number 13, and I'm sure you've heard of this expression, the green-eyed monster. The green-eyed monster. And in this case, we're talking about someone being jealous. I think she's got a little bit of the green-eyed monster after seeing you get that promotion. I saw how she was looking over here. Number 14, what's done is done. What's done is done. Meaning you cannot change something that has happened. And of course, usually it's bad. She decided she wanted to break up with him and then changed her mind. But what's done is done. Number 15, to be a foregone conclusion, for something to be a foregone conclusion. This means it's an inevitable result. Basically a result that is obvious before it happens. So for example, the election seemed to be a foregone conclusion. Number 16, to wear your heart on your sleeve. If you wear your heart on your sleeve, then you are a very open, kind, but easily hurt person. You easily expose your feelings. You're vulnerable. She's very easily hurt as she wears her heart on her sleeve, meaning it isn't protected by your chest, I guess. Number 17, all that glitters isn't gold. All that glitters isn't gold. This is a little bit like the expression, the grass isn't always greener, basically meaning things are not always as good as they appear from the outside. After being cheated on by many handsome men, she realised that all that glittered probably wasn't gold. Number 18, a blinking idiot. Essentially, it's calling someone stupid, of course, so be careful how you use it, and certainly directing it towards people, not the best idea. But a blinking idiot is essentially someone that's a fool. Stupid. You gave the kids chocolate before dinner, or you blinking idiot? Number 19, the world is your oyster. The world is your oyster, meaning you can achieve whatever you want in life. When you learn a second language, the world is your oyster. Jobs and travel become so much easier. Number 20, a tower of strength. If someone is a tower of strength, it means that they are strong and they support you. You can rely on them. So for example, when I was feeling really ill and down, she was a tower of strength. She really supported me. Number 21, a wild goose chase. Now a goose is that bird, and essentially when you say you feel like you're on a wild goose chase or you're on a wild goose chase, you feel like something is unattainable. You're searching for something that cannot be found. For example, it was a complete wild goose chase looking for the ingredients for that dish. I could not find them in any shop. Number 22, to break the ice. Yes, I'm sure you've heard this expression before, and it is in fact Shakespearean. So when you try to break the ice, you try to make an awkward situation feel more relaxed and calm. Basically to relax social tension, usually when you meet someone for the first time. So when I went on a date the other week, I tried to break the ice by telling a joke. It almost worked. Number 23, to vanish into thin air. To vanish into thin air. When something vanishes into thin air, it essentially disappears. Where did that chocolate go? It seems to have vanished into thin air. Number 24, neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. Essentially, this means it is of no importance or relevance. Her age is neither here nor there. Is she able to do the job? That's what we need to know. Number 25, mum's the word. Mum's the word. Basically, you say this when you agree and tell someone you're going to keep their secret. She didn't want to tell anybody about her pregnancy too soon. Mum's the word. 26, with bated breath. And usually we say, I waited with bated breath, meaning you held your breath to see what was going to happen. Basically, you're anxious, nervous, worried, but in an excited way. So she waited with bated breath to see if he was going to propose. Number 27, to have a heart of gold. Quite simply, this is referring to somebody who is very kind and thoughtful. She brought round some soup when I was feeling sick. She really does have a heart of gold. Number 28, dead as a doornail. Dead as a doornail. Now, essentially, this means that something is completely dead. The fox on the side of the motorway, wow, it really looked dead as a doornail. Essentially, very dead, completely dead, but there really isn't a part dead, so I don't really understand that expression. But you will still commonly hear it, dead as a doornail. Number 29, to be in stitches. Now, what this is when you're laughing so hard that really your stomach starts to hurt. So Sabrah often has me in stitches of laughter when she tells me some of her jokes or does some of her accents, meaning we laugh a lot to the point it hurts. Number 30, faint-hearted. Faint-hearted. Someone that's faint-hearted is usually not very brave and scared of taking risks. So going on that crazy ride at the theme park is not for the faint-hearted. You really might feel sick afterwards. Number 31, to send him packing or send someone packing means sending them away, telling them to leave, to get out. He was so rude at the party that I sent him packing. There is no way I'm having him talk to my friends like that. 32, the truth will out. The truth will out. Essentially, the truth will eventually be told. It will eventually reveal itself. You believe the truth will be discovered. I'm sure she's cheating on her boyfriend, but you know what? I'm going to say nothing because the truth will eventually out. Number 33, one that I would often use, there's a method in my madness. There's a method in my madness. Meaning people might not understand the crazy things you're doing, but there's a reason, a logical reason behind your behavior or actions. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. There is a method in my madness. To lie low, meaning you want to go unnoticed, to basically avoid people seeing you around too much. You did what to your mum's car? You crashed it? You really need to lie low until this is all over. And finally, come what may. Come what may. Essentially, whatever happens. Come what may, I will be at the party tonight. Don't worry, even if the weather's terrible, I'll be there. It's always good to know that come what may, whatever happens, your job is safe. And there we have it, expressions coined by William Shakespeare that we really do commonly use in day-to-day English. How many of those expressions did you already know? Comment and have a go at using these expressions. Try putting them into a context that you can understand. Personalize the language to help you remember it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll be watching the next lesson, come what may.